This meeting will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 8 and through the town website at www.eastham-ma.com. All right, calling this meeting to order. First thing is the approval of the May minutes. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Perfect. Reports on the swap shop. I have not been much at the swap shop in the last 3 weeks because I had minor surgery on my foot. However, I got an email from Kim St. Alban about, do we know how much tonnage we're diverting? And I actually have a pencil test for this. I went out and I bought, I guess a postage scale that goes up to 440 pounds. And what I'm going to propose is that Kim give us a dumpster, like a normal business dumpster. And for periods of time, say like pick a half an hour window on a Saturday and a Sunday and weigh everything coming in. And then whatever we divert, right now, our volunteer Richard takes it in the little radio flyer, but we have no way to measure that. So if I can get a dumpster from the transfer station and put the stuff, so when we're taking in stuff and I weigh it, so let's say it's a half an hour window, whatever that major number is, we will only divert the stuff we throw away for the most part into the dumpster in that window. And then at a certain point in time, maybe every 2 weeks or something, I'm sure we can get them to do a bulldozer or something to bring it over to the scale by the entrance, and we can actually do some math. And then my plan is just to take that and scale it up. So if we do a half hour window, multiply that. Our peak times for the swap shop are basically from like 9:45 to about 12. So I would take that 20 minutes and multiply it by 6. And so we should have a throughput number. Anecdotally, when I first started volunteering at the swap shop, I know what the volume was, came in, it went on the counter, et cetera. I'd say since I first started volunteering, which is about 2018, I can easily say that our throughput is tripled. The amount of stuff that's coming through. So it's a win-win all the time. If we can actually quantify it, then we have some more ammunition for grants and it makes the town happier and that would be a win-win. Gesundheit. Crossovers, solid waste.
Would there be a way of measuring how much goes out?
How much is thrown away?
No, I mean, how much goes out, how much people take away?
Yes, because if you take the number, if X is what we bring in and we subtract the number that goes in the dumpster, then I subtract one from the other,
right? Scale
up and then I have a window of what it could be.
Yeah.
And then anecdotally, people make deals in the parking line. So there's a lot of, I'd say easily 200 pounds worth of stuff every Saturday and Sunday is diverted while somebody pulls it out of their car and the next person goes, I have that. So it would be nice.
Hi.
Morning.
Lights are from chased across the street.
So that is my tentative plan. They moved the book bins, so we actually have a route in between the electronics dumpster and the barriers. So that and people actually pull up there and we now have a sign.
Right.
So it's like, for that window, don't come in from the other part. Please bring everything to this thing so that we can get an accurate snapshot. Crossover solid
So
waste.
would you be measuring the books that you yourselves divert?
Well,
Or you just don't even put them on the scale at all?
No, I thought about that. It might cook the numbers a little, but if we measure everything, books that don't go out to people for the most part, unless they're unless they're moldy or have mildew, go into the book bins.
Right.
So it's still diverted.
Yeah, it's just whether you were weighing, if you were not putting them in that dumpster, you would get their weight separately.
Well, the
Before you-
incoming weight will be the same for everything.
Right.
So everything comes in and then it's just a question of diverting it. And I thought about cardboard boxes, but every cardboard box we get gets recycled. So it's a valid number. It's out of the solid waste stream as opposed to somebody coming in with a big box of crap that they put right into the solid waste. So I view that as a win. And you're up for crossover solid waste, because
Well, there's not much to report there. We haven't had one of those meetings since the last meeting, which was
Sandy,
months ago.
we can go on to the next.
Yeah. What were you saying about, you're tracking now the things now?
Well, since I got the scale, I'm now proposing a way to measure in some windows and do a somewhat of a scale. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we need to add tracking. It's the one component we haven't been doing at all that we're technically responsible for. So yeah, that's cool. Good.
I didn't know we were responsible for telling them what it was.
Yeah, that's why they emailed us. That's why Kim emailed me. We're technically responsible for reporting those numbers to the state. We just never have done any kind of tracking ever, which is why we're gonna change things. Because technically, we're not doing one thing that we're technically supposed to be doing. It covers
Oh,
nothing.
wait, is that in your charge?
Yeah. You can't, it says you have to measurably reduce, which means you have to measure.
Okay, well, then the number that I pulled from my, cheap and simple extrapolation is
Would be
better than
something.
nothing.
Exactly. Anything improvement wise in terms of tracking is an improvement.
Well, what I said is that I'm gonna snapshot in like, say, 4 Saturdays and Sundays for a half-hour segment in the busiest time. Then I'm gonna multiply that up by 6, assuming that 10 to 12 is basically our busiest times.
Yeah,
And then I can, and then get a dumpster from Kim and John to put the stuff that we're diverting.
I talked to Kim about that. I don't know
And
if she didn't say anything yet. It was an email I copied you.
And then they can take that dumpster over to the scale and
And weigh
measure it, and we have usable numbers that
Of
way.
what we're not diverting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And what you missed is, she was asking about books, and it's like, well, we're still going to weigh the books. Books get diverted to 2 places other than people, to the book bins if they're decent, and if they're mildewy, they get thrown in the garbage anyway.
And I was just, my question was, I didn't phrase it well, was,
Yeah.
is the books that we put into the Better World Books or whatever it is, that counts as us doing the diverting?
Absolutely.
Correct.
Okay, that is what I was trying to
We
get at.
actually make a little bit of money on it. I think 11 cents a pound. So it's
We get paid for the books?
11, I think it's 11 cents a pound. I actually have it with me.
Oh, cool. All right.
I
I didn't
think
know that.
a little bit. It's the clothing and the textiles and the books, I believe we make money on, which are
Right.
the 2 things that we couldn't do anyway if we wanted to. Like recycling a book is a hard process.
Right.
It involves chopping it up and whatnot. Sorry, cardboard, not books. My
Yeah.
bad. Books
Yeah.
aren't even on here though, so we may actually, I'll talk to Kim and see if we can get books on here.
Okay.
Cause books is not incorporated in cardboard, nor is it incorporated with paper
But wait, we
Hey.
get paid per pound by those people?
for cardboard.
Right, but not for the book bins.
We don't know. That's the question. It's not on here. It's not captured. So my guess is it's probably a neutral exchange.
I don't think we do, because where I used to live in New York, we had the same thing, and I know we didn't pay them anything.
But
for
that
it.
being said, we also have one of those bins from Bay State Textiles and they do pay us.
Right.
So it's possible the bin generates revenue. We just don't know. Because it's not-
I'm 99% sure
We
it does.
do,
Yeah.
but we don't have the data, so I don't wanna say definitively.
So maybe it's
Because it could
another plus.
change within a weird way, when we go to check it. It's like, well, technically we get paid $100 a year just for having, it's like, well, then technically we are making less than a penny.
Right.
But yeah, I get it.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't have that number. Unfortunately.
So
All right.
crossover solid waste, no update?
Yeah, there's no update. We haven't done a crossover. I emailed your
Can we give it back to them?
contact. I mean, I do
Oh.
want to do a follow-up email to them. Just cause I don't know if they know who I am and I'm just randomly this guy emailing them, asking to like come see. But I did send an email. I also reached out through their contact form. It's at,
To who are you contacting? Oh,
Re-Waste or CMAS,
Okay, got it.
SEMAS,
Yeah,
not
I know,
SEMAS, not CMAS. I've gone through this trying to find the actual information for like where they are. I also have a secondary contact that if I can't get in contact with them like through email, I can just show up. They drive up there once a month. And they said that I'm welcome to just jump in the truck and talk to somebody that may get us the foot in the door, because a lot of the people I'm trying to reach, he may not even be there. And the other people I'm reaching is through a contact page to the parent company. But I'm trying to get an organized setting to go there. There's also one, well, where's the agenda? I don't wanna get
Here, I
ahead
just
of
go
myself here. Actually, I can just open it up. I have it here.
Here.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm jumping ahead then. But yeah, the CMAS is basically the people I've reached out to, but, jumping ahead, I newsletter, do you wanna speak to the newsletter? I saw it, it's good.
The May one went out, the
Yeah, it was a
June
good-
one has started, it hopefully will get out in June and not live, but,
It does.
I'll have copies at the, farmer's market and other things. So,
Excellent.
I mean, we can talk about that
I got
later.
an PDF of that, I'd like to include it for the program newsletter.
You should have been on the mailing list.
I did, I had trouble opening it up for some reason.
Okay, I'll send it again.
That'd be great.
And then I guess, let's jump to the charge. So last meeting, we just spent time updating, trying to figure out ideas to update the charge. A lot of the other committees have updated their charges, that are more broadly spread out, I guess. Like, I'm talking more like the, Climate Action Committee. They've recently changed, they included energy in their charge. So now they're responsible for like reduction of energy as part of their climate actions. And they cover greenhouse gases, which we keep kind of coming back to solid waste being the kind of like a growing problem, and reducing solid waste and reducing carbon emissions through reducing solid waste is effectively helping both committees. So we're trying to update the charge. So I don't know if everyone got a chance to read the new updated charge. It's not a final charge, obviously, it's just sort of where we're at from the last meeting. So if anyone saw anything, any comments on it, I just want to incorporate and capture those and then finish updating it so that we can then make this like the thing what we're trying to do is update this charge.
Well, maybe we could say that we're exploring previously unrecognized sources of greenhouse gas. Coming from unrecycled materials like moldy books and whatnot. And adding them to the Climate Action Committee's ultimate charge.
Yes, so like theirs outlines like the greenhouse gases totally, and even the things that are like, and that's how this whole solid waste thing kind of came up, because they're realizing some of their greenhouse gases are from stationary solid waste, i.e. methane.
Yeah.
From moldy books or what have you. And so that's when they kind of came to are starting to come to our committee and saying like, hey, we want to reduce these numbers, but we need your help. And that's where Gary has made that, I don't know if you were in the meeting, we had like a crossover meeting. There's a bunch of people from Climate Action and a bunch of people from our committee trying to figure out this whole solid waste situation. And that kind of spurred this whole, like, maybe we update our charge to like specifically say, let's reduce solid waste and specifically encompass education, to your point of engagement with the community, because
Right.
our current charge just says composting at the DPW, which is technically the town and not the people. So I figured let's update that and make it as part of our charge to regularly educate the public on these things. To your point, from last time, I think it was an excellent point. Even though there was resistant to it initially, because I was like, well, we're doing this, but it's part of what we need to be doing. So you're 100% correct.
But maybe we shouldn't be saying it's the town, not the people, because
That's what I'm saying. We're changing, that's what we're changing. So right now, it's currently we tell the DPW, hey, you should do composting, hey, you should recycle better. Now, it doesn't outline how we do that other than to tell them that we want it done. And then they take that opinion and they either do something with it or they don't. Thus far, it's been not. And before we were in charge of before like when it was other people, they did a lot of public outreach, which is actually not in charge. So we kind of were like, let's try to figure that out. And that's where we've been the last, I would say, 9 months to a year, trying to figure out what the swap shop needs. And we came up with sort of a plan, but rolling that plan out is clearly gonna have to be a longer term problem, because the town has they just can't walk and chew gum with that. So they're focused on the sewage treatment plant, and until that's done, there's nothing.
Yeah,
Exactly, so that gives us a chance to start educating the public, but in that education, we can talk about future plans for the swap shop and therefore get fundraising and do things. I actually just had my first day of work today. This is a sidebar, but I'm making the tote bags that we're gonna be selling myself, because I got a job at the place that screen prints them, so I can make them. So I'm gonna be doing that, that's just one way I'm gonna like donate some time to get those bags made. And then, hopefully that'll get other people to maybe donate something, and we can get enough money to get a container. And then once we get a container, then we can get maybe a new swap shop in the future, or fundraise just to get anything that we need for the swap. They have no budget. So we thought that might be a better plan, education with fundraising, rather than trying to say like, we're gonna change it when we get the money. Let's go get the money and educate while we're doing it. Does that seem like a good refocus of what we're trying to do?
Sure.
I mean, feel free, this is the time to like, did everybody read it?
I read it, I'm fine with it.
Okay,
It's in there.
just in case I need it, I guess I could throw it on the screen if I had to. But yeah, that's where we're at with it. Did anyone print it?
I didn't. I'm on the recycling committee, I don't print things.
I know. It's like, I'm such a paper guy, but then I'm like trying to PDF everything, which is not great for my organization. In fact, I just turned Siri off my phone because it was like confusing me with what it was trying to get me to do sometimes. The only area I did include a mission, so I'm gonna read it to everyone so that no one, we didn't put this in last time. I just thought it'd be better if we declared a mission because we didn't really have one. That's why I think we lost our sort of track of what we were doing with the changes over that have happened in the past. And I put the overall mission of the Eastham Waste Reduction and Recycling Committee. That's the name I'm putting in there for now. Feel free to bludgeon me with that if it's terrible. Is to reduce solid waste at Eastham Transfer Station by educating residents, promoting recycling, composting, and support. Oh, and support and administer this. Okay, that needs to be fixed. So composting, support, and administration of the swap shop. Administer the swap shop as a valuable community resource for reuse. Sorry. Through outreach and collaboration, which is completely changed from what we were doing, which was just telling the DPW. By technically, we were supposed to just tell them we want you to do these things and then show them the math of why it's good. We cut that out. Instead, we're gonna do more education, but yeah. Through outreach collaboration, the committee aims to foster greater participation in long-term waste reduction. And then I also included the committee shall designate roles as needed to support internal organization and external communication. That way, it's not so much top down, it's more multi-level marketing, not to use a dirty term, but you know, it would be like people have their own areas and then they can come to the meeting and say, well, here's my item on the agenda. And that way we can also create action items. Cause like, I know you mentioned it. I know it's been a big bugaboo for me that there's no way to really create actionable items. This will let us at least take a step towards that in a way that I think spreads out the overall, like I'm in charge, but I by no means think I'm the best leader. If someone wants to do it, I think that I'm a good at a support role, but this will hopefully let everyone be the role that best suits the committee for what they're doing. Because we didn't have like roles, we just had a secretary, we have a vice chair, and that was it.
No, the liaison to the swap shop was always there.
Is that an official title on the
It
website?
was always mentioned.
I know it's always mentioned, it is mentioned right in the charge.
The charge?
It's in the charge. It's just not a position, like when you look up the people on the town website, like who's in the committee,
Oh,
it
right,
doesn't
right.
say any of that. This will allow us to sort of create those titles to have those things be filled in rather than just like, cause like technically when Lee was here, she was the vice chair, which I didn't even know what does the vice chair do? We don't have any definition because it was not a thing in the charge. Now we can say what it is. Now I did list some. I did say there may include but aren't limited to. But if you have ideas, fire them at me for specific roles that people can fill. They don't all have to be filled, but I thought it would be good to let them be like, create the ones that we think are best. I have chair, vice chair / swap shop liaison. That way it's sort of like a twofer. That way also the vice chair can fill in for the chair. There's like a vice president because he had my boss. Secretary, I put a treasurer because we
Or
are
late because of the traffic.
or late because I'm waiting for the light to change. Man, it's like they went from like nobody on the street to like everybody on the street like in a week.
It's summer.
I know, it's just like now it's really started. Secretary, I have treasurer because we were gonna do some fundraising. I thought having a person be accounting the money would be good, so I put that in there. And then I also put designated liaisons, like for instance, if someone wanted to be a liaison to the climate action committee, which I think is technically me and I haven't been going. But like those kind of things, I did put that in there as well. So if there's other roles you think we can add,
Communications.
communications. I was thinking, how about secretary / communications? That way there's, or should we make them separate things?
I mean, I think you make them separate things, just
Sounds
maybe
good.
somebody's good at pushing out information and somebody just wants to take notes or something, I don't know.
I mean, they can be held by the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
If-
true.
If
Yeah, fair
the
enough.
person who's doing it wants to do both, but it shouldn't, I don't think it should be required that.
Good point. I'll separate vice chair and swap shop liaison for the same reason then.
Well, and you have to remember, there's only 5 people on.
But no, I'm expanding it to 7.
I know,
Okay.
right now there's.
Yeah, there's only 5 people I know here. But yeah, I'm expanding it to 7. Just because I thought that since the other committee was larger, we should also be a little larger. And then I didn't add it in here yet, but I thought that maybe putting in that all the people on the recycling committee at least once a month or once a season, try to volunteer at the swap shop to understand the flow of the DPW and the swap shop in general. It just gives, I mean, from when I went from understanding it as a concept to when I went there to actually do it was a big night and day difference. You know what I mean? Because I had an idea of what it was and then I went and I was like, this is not what I thought it was. So I think having everybody at least do it once a season or once a month would give us a little bit of a roster of extra volunteer help to sort of figure out what other tasks we can accomplish, because the volunteers that are there are doing all the things that are there. But what if we wanted to branch out? So like, that's where maybe a volunteer could, hey, I have an idea. Let's, now that you've been there a couple, a bunch, it's like, now you kind of see the flow, like, the idea might be able to be executed with our volunteers rather than their volunteers.
I don't know if we should put it in a charge though,
Fair enough.
just because.
It's
people
just
are
like an
volunteering
idea we
anyway.
had, so I was like, it might be good for everyone to sort of see how it
And
runs.
I
It is.
don't necessarily think it has to be volunteering either, I mean, especially if there's any liability and training needed. Like to show up and be a part of it without being an official volunteer and getting in the way of all,
Because
who
they-
knows? They all know what they're doing and I don't want to step in and get in the way of
They
that.
asked me for
I'm good to observe, but not have to be
I mean,
hands-on.
that would be sufficient to me.
They asked for a list of volunteers, because they said, they were concerned with any liability. So they now have an updated list of volunteers.
We also need to add to the charge, a liability waiver. I don't know if we put that into our handbook.
I
I
have
think
no
that would be
idea.
a handbook,
It's,
not part of the charge, it would be a handbook.
yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah.
at this point,
And it
since we
should come from
turned,
the DPW actually.
you want me to get one from them, that's
Well, I
probably a
think
better
that-
idea than the one I.
Well, because it's,
Volunteers are on their property.
it's their real estate.
One, yeah, but the
And,
one I
and that
have,
was supposedly why they wanted the name, so can only assume that that was the intention.
yeah, I mean, I can always use the one that open space uses. Cause I had assigned one to be on open space.
I would just ask John if.
Well, I asked Kim, yeah,
What, what there is, if
Yeah.
there's something they want people to sign for liability purposes, I mean, we've had a lot of accidents at transfer stations.
yeah, I know, it's,
So-
well, that's why some of the changes had to be made because
Right,
of the
right.
accidents. Yeah, I think it's, you're right, maybe not putting it in the charge, but making it sort of like a thing that we try to get people to do.
It should be part of the handbook.
No, I meant the volunteering at the,
Oh,
I
yeah.
did pivot to the handbook, you're right, it should be part of the handbook for liability waiver.
Maybe like observe when practicable the operation is.
Yeah, and I just want more eyes to tell me other things that we can do that I know I'm missing. I know, like, I'm seeing a lot of the pieces of the puzzle, what it could be, but I know I'm missing stuff because I'm not perfect. So other people that see it and have ideas would be great to sort of just start pooling these and figure out how to execute the ones that are best executed together. So that's why I just want more help, more eyes.
A characteristic, somebody really as an observer might take away a lot of the liability issues that people seem to be concerned about.
Yeah, I mean, well, as part of being in the committee, we can always just make everybody sign that waiver too.
Yeah.
Just as easily. I had to sign one just to be in open space because I go outside with them and do a place where I can get signed by a bee. So like, we can use that for like our people, so that even though they're just watching, they'll still be covered, right? Just for safety purposes. But yeah, that's the only real major changes. I mean, as far as like anything else is the same. I didn't change it. This is all based on our notes, I feel like it might be a little long, so I might have to try to compress it one more time. And then if anyone has it, wants to take a pass at editing it and send it to me.
You want everybody to take a peek at it and give you some input and
It'd be-
make a decision.
Yes, conduct your latest copy and anybody can.
Well, I did, I didn't
Okay.
even edit this. This is just stuff I was discussing that I didn't, this is all on the latest copy. I didn't wanna go into anything on this, just the stuff I speculated before that we said maybe we could add it, and we decided not to.
Okay.
Was the only things that I was mentioning that weren't in it. Anything that's in it now is in it, and then we can always edit. And again, I think language probably needs some massaging. I did run it through ChatGPT to like legalize it as from, well, that's not the right word, you know what I mean? Make it sound legally easy based on the one that we had, because I fed that one into it originally as well.
So if everybody takes a peek at it, gives you some feedback and you can bring it to the July and you guys can vote on it to see if you wanna push it forward.
Yep, and then once we do that, we take it to the select board, and then we'll be rebooting our committee. And then the current name of the new committee, which is still this committee, is the Waste Reduction and Recycling Committee. It's a bit of a mouthful, but so is the Climate Action and Energy Committee.
Yeah, it's a better description of what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think that the new charge will allow us to do a little bit more in terms of community engagement that's supported by the charge, rather than just like, we're doing it because we're hoping that this will work as reduction of waste. And then what I don't have in here, and that maybe we may wanna revisit, is how are we tracking solid waste? In terms of like, do we do a report every year to ourselves to understand our progress? Or do we not hold ourselves to that high of a count? Cause currently the previous charge said establish a handbook, didn't even say maintain it, just establish one. And then it wasn't ever updated or really super established in terms of, it was like a 1-page document we were just using. So like, I figured updating it that way is a little better too.
Well, I think Jonathan has a good idea of what we could do just for
To get a
estimates.
pencil test of what
Yeah.
we're actually doing, yeah, yeah. I have no
See where that
illusions
goes.
of the accuracy being dead, but it's
And-
better than nothing.
Right.
And then another thing we're gonna try to do, and at least I'm working on, is now that I have a job, I'm gonna try to build a time lapse camera. And then create what's called a heat map. I don't know if anyone's familiar with, to find out the areas of use of the swap shop, and then what we'll do is we'll calculate PPE or PPM, person per meter. And then we'll
I
identify.
already have a time lapse of that I'm gonna do.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I just have an old iPhone and an external battery. It's as good as anything else, right?
Yeah, that should work. As long as you have the time lapse, I can make the heat map.
Right, so I'll get around to.
I was just gonna use an a Raspberry Pi camera that I
Yeah.
have on like a stick, so it's the
Yeah,
same
yeah,
thing,
no,
basically.
I've got it in the pipeline.
Okay, we gotta move on.
Yes.
Waste reduction committee.
But yeah, that's all really for the charge, so I'll do, everyone take a look at it, kick me some stuff, and then we'll go. I already said about the field trip, I've
Yep.
emailed, I haven't heard. The New England Biochar, that's another field trip worth seeing, because the guy has the most amazing compost on site.
You told us that. last
Yeah,
time.
so I'm working on, he actually has field trips from the school go there, apparently.
Mhm.
Cause he has like a whole ecosystem he built, from when it was like, when he moved there in 1988, it was just dust. So, I figured a field trip there to kind of see some of the things we could also be pushing at our education and outreach for composting, boosting and stuff like that. would
Or
be good.
actually buying a machine from him.
Or buying a machine from him, yes. They even sell small machines for your backyard.
Are you gonna set that up?
I'm gonna set that up, yeah. I just been waiting a little bit just because I know he just had a field trip with students. I didn't wanna try to go at the same time a bunch of kids were there.
Okay.
And then the farmer's market, I know you were doing the table for the, what's the group again? Conservation Committee?
No, it's the Cape Cod Commission people,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Elaine, is that how you say it?
Green or something.
She's running it, and they're having a meeting right now, to talk about how to promote yourself at the farmer's market, and I was like, well, so she and I might talk tomorrow or the next day, and I'll be there Friday from, 8 to 12.
Okay,
And then, in July, there's another date, July 20th, it's the community table, so I'm sharing with, the Energy Climate Action Committee.
yeah, I figured that was how it was gonna work.
Uh,
What do you need? Do you need me to get anything printed for you to
I,
have? I'm happy to do
yeah,
that.
yeah, I'm trying to think, cause I'll have some of the newsletters and if you have newer updated brochures about
I do.
composting.
I do, I did all that
That'd be
stuff.
great, that'd be great to have some of that, I don't. It sounds like they're gonna have the table, so I'm not sure if the banner's gonna work this time.
Well, why don't you try it out, like, wait and go this time and feel it out and then
Yeah,
figure out for July what would be
yeah.
best.
yeah, so, but if there's stuff that you have that.
I can either send you the PDF or I can get them printed at Staples. whichever is-
I mean, yeah, you can send me the PDF, that's fine.
Okay, I'll send you the PDF, at least that way you'll have that if you wanted to print them, and I'll try to get them printed like on some kind of nicer paper. I have a composting one, and then I have two others in process. One is a vermiculture one specifically talking about like using worms. And then the other was advanced composting when it talks about like different types of composting.
And I don't know if you wanted to put anything up about the swap shop, if we have anything about the swap shop.
We don't, do you think we should make something?
What's on the DPW's? Aren't we part of their trifold? Their
I have a trifold for the DPW as well. That actually is a good reminder. I have two trifolds. I have one for the DPW, what's acceptable, what's not, and it mentions a swap shop.
I think that would probably.
And then I have one on composting that I can get. I'll email you the PDFs for both. If I forget, just please text me or something and I'll send them to you right away.
Okay.
And then as I said, the newsletter, if you wanna print that and take that, of course,
Yeah, I've got
obviously
them
that's.
printed out already,
fine.
I'll take.
And then we have Kayla, did you email Kayla about hosting them on our web? We don't have like, the swap shop doesn't have like a recycling page, doesn't have a page. Maybe that's something we should start
We
working
do have
on.
we do have a recycling committee page, and the newsletter is on there because Kim made it happen.
Okay,
She didn't know how to do it, like, for the Council on Aging, they have all of their newsletters. And Kim only knew how to do one, like, not make a list, so we're gonna try to figure out how to make it that we can have.
I believe the
passages.
recycling committee's having the same problem. That they only can put one or two up and they can't put more than that, and they're trying to figure out how the Council on Aging is doing it too. So that may be something someone's working on to fix, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, but.
I did remember over here
Kim
to
at
talk
least
about
was,
it.
has been putting up the latest one on our
Okay,
web.
at least that's, at least there's
So-
that. Cool, that's good to know. And then fundraising, we approved the artwork, the last meeting, which is it's the all green.
Right.
Windmill. And I'll probably do the lithograph myself since I'm working over there. And then the totes, I'll get them done. I have a price, I think I sent the price out in an email of what it was. It's like
Yeah, and I think you said this already, but I don't think, we can't do fundraising at the community table.
yeah, I remember you saying that, which is fine. We just have to figure out where we wanna sell them. And
So
honestly,
we'll
'cause-
be prepared for Windmill weekend at least, and.
yeah,
I don't know what the rules are at the transfer station itself. We probably can't sell stuff there.
I think I'd ask him, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it's probably a permit, like you probably have to get a. permit to do stuff.
Well, the town permit for doing business, cause my wife's, the treasurer of the Painters Guild. It's just a $20 thing, but if we're part of the town and they've set up a bank account for this,
they did.
I'm not sure that there's gonna be a big problem.
Yeah, I would just ask
We
John.
could sell them out
Yeah.
of the swap shop,
Whatever.
they could sell them out of the office because they take money for, composting bins and stuff like that.
You mean
But the actual entrance window.
oh, I was also thinking, do you think a beach sticker place would sell?
They're kind of up to their ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's shorthanded is a problem, yeah.
Yeah,
It
at
would
this
be,
time of
it would
year,
be us volunteering to, like the swap shop
Right.
volunteering.
Yeah, I figured we
to
would work
take
the
on
table to
it.
do it if we did
Right.
it. Personally, I don't really see a problem with it, if we can figure out how to make it work, let's make it work, but yeah, I'll try to get them started and. I can't remember the price, I did send it out via email, it's like $1 or something, $1 and some change to do a tote for the tote bag. And then like the plate and stuff, but like since I'll be doing all that work, he said I could just do it while I'm there. And then I just gotta buy the totes, so. I mean, worst case, I can get canvas and make totes out of a sand machines. But I'll try to figure that out, get more information together so that we look a little more presentable before we do it. In terms of like preparedness. And then if we have anything for shirt artwork we wanna work on, I mean. I know this is gonna go in the front like pocket, but we wanna do a back with like local treasure and a picture of the swap shop, but like we still have to figure that out, so I'm open to any ideas anyone has. I know we wanted to talk about getting an artist rendition or a photo sort of thing, but. I'm not really
I
sure.
kind of slowed on my energy with that after going to some of the mass reuse sessions. Because they're like, we have too many clothes already. We're
Yeah.
trying to get rid of clothes.
That was why
We're trying not to generate more
My
clothes,
issue with
so.
clothing was
So do we have recycled shirts that we can use? And so I kind of said,
we kind
I
of.
haven't put enough thought into this to be happy to go one way or the other, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have ideas for a shirt, but my wife always she sells a lot of merch, even though she runs a weed store. It's like one of the most, obviously one of the big things. And she's like, you have to have every size, and then you also have to have it with you because you can't sell a shirt you don't have. So if
Right.
you're hiking everywhere, you're gonna be carrying 15 boxes because you want all the sizes.
And then you have to store the inventory somewhere.
Yeah, and if you do more than one color, then you gotta double the everything. So it's like I
They're
don't
not
know.
profitable.
At the
Yeah.
moment, let's
Well,
keep it
With
simple.
tariffs the way they are, they're definitely a tough sell. I think tote bags, if we could get a table at the farmer's market, as you suggested, with a tote bag, it's an easy sell. I think is like, oh, a tote bag while I'm here and it goes to the swap shop, perfect. While like a shirt, it's like I'm wearing a shirt, don't wanna carry a shirt. Then I got another shirt. I have too many shirts. I just dropped 3 bags of textiles off him. Oh, sorry, 4 garbage bags and textiles off of the swap shop. So yeah. But yeah, so I mean, let's think about other things.
But then again, we do like our shirts.
I knew in college, it was like the way I got people to show up for anything. Free shirt, show up, but now I feel like we've done that to death, to the point where like now everybody has shirts for everything. But yeah, like any ideas we have, let's feel free to keep open to them and figure them out. That's it. Anyone have any new business actually?
But just the Windmill weekend, when do we know what kind, if we're gonna provide our own table, if we're gonna,
Well, we'll have to get our own table and tote. I can work on getting a tote or table as well. When is one?
I have one that's like the
I'm actually
size,
all- I
that
vol-
the size that folds in half,
Oh, you do?
I have one of
Okay,
those,
perfect. I
yeah.
mean, that's at least something.
So-
I
Well,
can give,
that was the decision. Did you have to tell them? When do you have to tell them?
well, I don't even,
We never
I
did that.
signed up to do like the volunteering to plan Windmill weekend, but no one has reached out to me since I've signed up to do it.
Wasn't there, or was it the email for the farmer's market?
That was the farmer's market.
Okay, the one that had the deadline of like June 15th?
That was the commission.
Okay.
When's Windmill weekend?
September.
Something, okay,
9th.
I knew it was September, something like that,
I
yeah.
think it's the end of the week, first week in September.
Okay, well, then we have
September sixth.
some time, cause it's only June, that's 3 months.
Yep.
That may be why we don't know anything. I don't know how much planning goes into the Windmill weekend before it starts, but I did sign up with a lady that was like, I'm looking for volunteers. To plan Windmill weekend, so that way I would know what we can need to do, we can get a table and a tent and all that jazz. Either way, if we need to get those things, we'll get them, we'll figure that out, that could be part of our fundraising as well, and buying a tent. Is I think a worthy cause because they can use it at the swap shop as well. On a really hot day, I'm sure. That's it, unless anyone else has any other new business, let me make sure I write that down.
Nothing, honey.
I don't wanna miss
You
that note.
We all good?
want to be in there and I'll
Anyone
motion
need
to.
Oh, right, I move that we conclude this meeting,
I'll second.
all in favor?